I lose frequently. And the one nugget that I want to leave people with is that losing is completely normal. And if you're not losing, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, you're not playing.
You're not in the game. When I was like 23, 24, and I started taking market, the old agents could not stand me. Like I would get reported for like the smallest marketing error on the MLS. The smallest things reported. Open house signs gone. I found a knife inside of one of my for sale signs once. Like it was crazy. What is the biggest asset to your business right now?
It's my knowledge on building and material. So if it's a finished product already, I'm creating that story and I know every piece of material that's in the house. And then if it's a new build, a developer, I'm able to guide them in order to get the
Welcome back to the Shane Holmes podcast. Today we have Adam Senn. Adam is not only a scratch golfer, but is a huge influence in the fashion industry and has now transitioned over into real estate development and sales. Thank you so much for coming on the show, bro.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah. So we were just talking a little bit about golf. So you used to be top 50 in the country?
I was top 50 in the country, top 5 in the state. It wasn't really the physical swing that was so good, but I kept it between the ears, like it's just strategy.
Yeah. When I was in college, I played soccer for a little bit. I was a goalie.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about on my last podcast how like that the sport mindset of just like being here, like when you get scored on or you hit a bad shot, like you still retain the same level of focus, if not go up after. Like you're ready to go. That transitions so much into business. So I could see how being, especially with how mental golf is, like I think it's even a little more mental than like being a soccer goalie. That would translate really well into business.
It's actually pretty similar because you're kind of there. I know you're on a team, but you're kind of solo protecting the goal.
Yeah.
Tennis would be really similar. My father made me read tennis psychology books.
Really?
As a kid. I had a sports psychologist follow me around once a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I really want my son to be a great golfer. And like he already loves just picking up the club. Like he associates that with
one of the best things, not only just for, sports, business, but also learning the etiquette of golf. Yeah. And having that carry on to business or life in general. It can be very respectable if you carry yourself well on a course.
Yeah. I can 100% see that. Do you do a lot of business on the golf course?
I do a ton. I would say now, especially with real estate, it's one of my greatest assets.
Yeah.
I get invited everywhere, and I've really tried to map this down in my head of why. And I've got a good Rolodex of really high net worth individuals who invite me to play golf and fly me around to go play golf.
Yeah.
And what it comes down to is you've got some of the greatest business minds in every different field that really try to be good at golf. And there's kind of a mental barrier that they get to in order to fully succeed and go be scratch, shoot par, shoot under par. You play some of your worst golf while you're playing some of your best golf.
Yeah.
You get nervous. You go six under, 3-4 birdies in a row. All of a sudden you're like, oh my God, is this going to be the best game I ever played?
Or am I going to blow up and shoot 4 over on the next hole?
So these guys who have been so successful in business, I think they're infatuated, with the kind of level of dedication and focus it takes to be great.
Yeah.
And that can carry on I've carried it on to anything I set my mind to. 10,000 hours to be great at anything, right?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And just the sport itself, like I'm in the process of joining a bigger country club because not only is it just something that is so fun to do, but like you're also networking with higher net worth people.
Yeah.
And like that piece of it, not only are you having fun and drinking and doing whatever, like you're meeting dudes that are multi millionaires.
Yeah.
It's such a cool game.
I've learned to play. I've played with, anyone under the sun. And especially when I lived in New York for a long time, I had some real Jersey guys who I'd play with who just talk shit nonstop. And so I play best, like talking shit the whole time.
Yeah.
And my good friends who know me know don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
You're better off saying how great I am to fuck me up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very, very similar to that.
I want the competitiveness. And I feed off of it. But as soon as you start giving me compliments, I'm like, oh my God, I get all jammed up.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm the same way with like if I make a bet. Yeah. Like if someone puts money on it, my entire game changes.
Oh yeah.
And it could be $1.
I have to play for something.
Yeah. I have to,
so I have a quote in my high school yearbook that says, I don't waste good shots for free.
That's so good. Well, that's classic.
My dad would, I started gambling probably at 7, 8 years old. Mm-hmm. My dad would give me to go pay this sounds so snobby. I mean, it really didn't grow up that, like, not crazy privilege. It was a medium country club. But my dad would give me to pay the country club bill in cash. And sometimes it took me like a week or two to pay that country club bill because I'd be gambling the old guys. Yeah. And my dad at 10, I remember, he's like, $100 a hole, my son will beat you. You know, like, so it made you kind of rise to the occasion. Now I have 2 sisters, younger sisters. One's 26. She's in the banking world. And she's a scratch golfer, played in college. And I mean, how quick she went up in the ranks at her bank from golf, night and day.
Wow. Yeah, that's
unbelievable.
Cool. That's cool. So you've been doing some sales with some higher net worth people and like in the entertainment industry. Yeah. How did you get connected with those guys?
I was in the entertainment industry for a while, of course, through fashion, and I have a lot of huge connects. I never wanted to say that I hated the term model. Mm-hmm. But I had to find something in that business because it was good money for a long time. So I had to find something that I related to. And I became good friends with the actual designers because I respected the business and I liked branding and marketing. Mm-hmm. Now, Dolce just flew me to Italy 2 weeks ago for their 40th anniversary. But it's me and all their highest net worth clients. Yeah. And they bring me in because they know I can associate with the clients quite easily. I've been in the business. Nothing's a shock to me. Yeah. And so it's carried on into real estate. Mm-hmm. And now the word's out. Instagram definitely helps. I transferred my whole Instagram in December to real estate.
Great call.
And I waited. It was 2 years of me talking to a camera, being nervous, right? Oh, are they going to believe what I'm saying? And that's my passion. I'd always done it for myself. And all my friends, everybody would ask for my advice, but I just never brought forth on the gram. I was posting the pretty photos and the BS that really wasn't me. Yeah. And I felt so tongue-tied with that. And so now that I've gone full blast into real estate, I mean, you can ask these names I can say. Sharon Stone, you ask her about, I don't know if I could say you ask her, Sharon Stone, about real estate, most likely my name will come up in the conversation at some point in time. Yeah. Whatever. Ask Adam. Mm-hmm. And that happened a lot. Yeah. And so my friends who work in the entertainment business and represent some of these high net worth individuals and celebrities, my name started coming up in the conversation.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always find that, like, I do a lot of like cold advertising, mail, social media ads, but everything that I've always had the best luck with is like that organic.
I've done 0.
Yeah. It's better that way. It's really hard to
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the best way is. I love what you're doing.
Thanks.
I mean, I recently got turned on to you. Mm-hmm. I'm still friends with like Brandon Williams, who I've known for a long time. We actually went to the same acting coach.
Oh, really?
For a long time. Tracy Tudor has become a good friend. Yep. A lot of the bigger agents, Tomer. I know a lot of these guys.
Cool, yeah.
And this is the difference I see is you kind of need to recognize whether it's a talent or somebody who has potential. Mm-hmm. And I know there's so many con artists out here. Yeah. But it takes a lot to recognize like the passion and somebody's capabilities. Mm-hmm. And these bigger agents saw it early. They started following me on Instagram quick. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the big developers who started seeing me in the neighborhood, I started coming across their feed. So they started following me quick. And it's funny because some of the other agents who are, whether it's just starting out or, in, you know, just the neighborhood agent,
Yeah.
they don't know. They're not looking. They're still posting the same thing that every other agent is posting, and they're not thinking how to shake up the market.
Yeah. I think that's easily the biggest error, and what I kind of post about and advise people on is that real estate has like enough branding. Like, you don't need to be posting all houses. People are interested in you.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to work with the guy that they connect with, that's shaking up the industry, that's doing aggressive things that are outside of the box
Also,
to help
what
add
you're
value.
into. What's your passion?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I am a nerd about the hardware all in here, you know, just the handles. I mean, that conversation, the fact that all these cabinets are raised 6 inches above the ground. Why? Right?
Yeah.
So you can spray out your garage. It's meant so your cabinet's not getting waterlogged.
Yeah.
And it's going to cause rot and mold. Like, just knowing simple things. But I love those details.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, shout out Inspired Garage for sponsoring these cabinets. They came in and completely transformed the whole garage, and this was all their design.
They look good.
They put it all together, and now we actually have like a good backdrop in the podcast.
Oh yeah, so. Inspired Designs. I'm here for you.
Let's go.
I finished my garage as well. I did like cool like in mudded in lights that like
I
run
love those.
different ways.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. And I'm actually a buddy of mine from my fiance is an interior architect, and just on one of her designs they had all these slats left over. So I probably have like 2,000 square feet of those. Just
they're expensive too, dude.
My garage right now, I could build a whole nother house.
Yeah,
it's just material.
That's awesome.
One other thing I don't mind saying, just as far as like getting business, right? I have a lot of younger agents ask me like, how are you doing it so quick? I love going to estate sales with my fiance. We love it. But most of all, I know that house is coming on to market. Yeah. So I'm already talking to whoever's the estate sale manager. If there's an agent on it, please let me talk to them. I don't mind. I don't need to represent it, but I would like to present an offer first with one of my developers or one of my clients. So can I get in first? Yeah. That's my move. And I've closed quite a few estate sales.
That's awesome. That's a really good tactic. I've always like, whenever I see the signs, I usually drive up there and go check it out.
I love saying it. Like, it's not a secret. Yeah. Because I swear 98% of all agents will never do it.
They're never going to do it.
Never do it.
I have given my entire playbook time and time again. And the biggest piece of advice that I can give anybody is to just do something. Like, whatever it is. If you're going to go drive around to estate sales all day, do it. If you're going to go door knock, just go do it. No one takes action. And that's why I think a lot of people end up kind of hitting that barrier, or particularly in a really tough market, end up not scaling because it's just they're not taking the action that they need. So that's an awesome tip.
It's really not a secret. I don't mind. At first, my fiance even was like, don't tell anybody you do that. And I was like, I noticed. I told quite a few, and they couldn't comprehend it. They're like, what? Who do you talk to? Why do you talk to them? How do you know? I'm like, just do it.
Just go.
Just talk to somebody.
Yeah, the conversation, just start the conversation. And then you said you're working with a lot of developers. Yeah. So that's perfect. It's an estate sale. The house probably needs work. You get your developer in, you'll make 2.5% on the front, and then you'll make 2.5 to 5% on the back. And people don't get it.
And if you're really lucky, you make the 5% on the front too. Yeah. Right? If they don't have anybody.
Yeah, if they don't have a broker all day. Yeah. I actually, like, a lot of my career on the front end before I started doing more developing was just brokering those deals. And oftentimes I would make the same amount of money as the flipper. Yeah. Just brokering.
Yeah. I put together, there's a deal, actually just went into escrow today, and I didn't take it for myself. Did the one next door as well. But this one, I was putting it all together. Yeah. And basically I was going to split it with a friend, split the profit. And it came out to, on the low end, this isn't what happened. It actually ended up going for much more. But the way I had it mapped out, it was going to make me 200 and him 200 in about 6 months.
Great.
And he was like, 50% on it. And I was like, that's the only way it's worth it for me. Because when developing these, I mean, you're turning gray. Yeah. This isn't easy.
No,
it's not easy work. Yeah. And I'm passionate about it. So I'm putting like heart and soul. But anything less, I was already going to make 100. So like that extra 100 on that amount of work is like borderline. Because I mean, it will kill you. It will give you a heart attack. It'll give you a stroke. It's stressful.
Yeah, it's definitely takes like this, more so telling the listeners, you need to have a really good contractor. Or if you're subbing it out, like
you're there. You're there 24/7.
It's a job.
And the way I like to build, what I've realized is a lot of these contractors, not some of my, now there's ones at all different levels, but for the most part, they're still building like it's 1970. They're not looking up all the new material, all the latest stuff, which might just be a 10% more, but such a better quality of build. And if you know Matt Reisinger,
I don't know.
Mention that name. Great name. That guy is the biggest builder on YouTube. And my best friend is his right hand in Austin.
Oh, cool.
So I would watch his YouTubes, and he lists out all the newest material. When I went to the expo in Vegas for the Builders Expo, he's the big wig. Like, he's the celebrity of building.
Oh, that's cool.
And so any type of material I would see, I would then call my best friend when I was building my own house. And I'm like, hey, how is that material? He would validate it, and I would go with it. And that also allowed me to create the story.
Yeah.
So with selling these homes and guiding these developers through them, I'm now creating a full script for the house. And we're in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You're writing a script. People want the movie. They want the lifestyle. They want the whole 9 yards. And so the more story you have in being a part of the build, I think it's so much easier and more natural and authentic to sell the product.
And it's fun. Yeah. It makes it fun. Like, especially in your market, like in that Hollywood area, people will pay for that. Yeah. Like, they'll pay a big premium. Yeah. I'm starting to do like some of those like more forward finishes out here, and like not a lot of the developers are. Yeah. So like it just makes it a lot easier to sell your stuff. It's fun. You're getting to design it. And now I actually have people messaging me asking me to help them design their remodels. Yeah. I haven't actually done it because, like you said, it's a lot of gray hair.
Man.
But it's cool stuff.
Yeah. It's funny. I won't mention a name, but there's designers I know. They actually have a number of what it's worth to do the job, basically a giant remodel. And they have it at, the people I know, at $750,000 is the minimum that they'll do the job, because it's such a headache and there's so much overhead, and anything less, you're going to deal with a homeowner who's not always, who's going to want to like cut corners and not go with your first recommendations.
Yeah. And that's where I could see the time coming in, is when people aren't taking your recommendations on finishes, design, whatever, and you're going back and forth like 10 times. Yep. Have you done design work for people, or you just kind of
I can. So with the developers, I consult the whole project, and it's funny because developers are, for the most part, they're asking for my direction and they want the guidance, and then you get a homeowner who doesn't ask one question and wants to just go with whatever ideas that they have, which is so kind of generic for them. They're not thinking of the wider audience or the buyer in that time and market.
Yeah. Apologies for the intermission, but now we're back, ready to crank, talk about real estate, making money. Let's fucking get after it.
Let's go.
What is the biggest asset to your business right now? Is it your golf? Is it trust sales? Like, where are you winning?
I'm really, it's my knowledge on building and material, hands down. There's not too many agents in a mid-tier. There's some of the super agents that I've met that just know everything and way beyond me. I'm like the contract stuff. I have a partner who is just excellent, from Johnson & Johnson, 15 years. He's smart as all hell. Jeremy Greenberg, shout out. He's my other half. I'm kind of the guy swinging for the fences, and you're working with me because I'm so drawn into the design, build, ethos. So if it's a finished product already, I'm creating that story, and I know every piece of material that's in the house. Yeah. And then if it's a new build, a developer, then I'm able to guide them in order to get the best bang for their buck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Like I was sharing with you earlier, my parents used to flip houses. Yeah. And then getting into the business, when I was 20, my parents were already flipping houses. So like when I would go on an appointment or communicate with someone, I already had like the background knowledge on the product.
Huge.
And that's how I was able to still get listings when I was 20, going up against people that on paper beat the shit out of me.
Yep. Yeah.
But having that product knowledge, like you said, huge asset.
That's what I tell a lot of young agents. I really go get a mentorship with a contractor for a year, a tradesman. So you learn a little bit about plumbing, a little bit about electric, a little bit about framing. Then it's going to give you such a better repertoire to go into any client.
Yeah.
Because you're going to know more than 90% of these other real estate agents just by having some slight building knowledge. And this is what we do. It's all about the houses, whether it's commercial, residential, even agriculture, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have value to add to any of those overnight, you know? And it's, nowadays it's YouTube. Like just get involved and find what you love about real estate on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And it's going to give you the script.
Yeah.
You know, I hate saying it's script because it shouldn't be phony or fake or premeditated, but it's going to start allowing all that, the terminology and dialogue into your speech flow.
And even knowing approximate costs on things.
That's it.
Like you don't need to know everything, like you said, but if you have a ballpark on what it's going to cost that client or the potential buyer, even more so when you're selling a property, you can talk to the buyer and say, I can communicate better with these buyers because I can tell them this, and this are feasible.
Yeah.
And I can sell them. If you are selling a house that like needs work or something, you can sell. I tell my sellers that I can sell the buyers better than anybody else because I know the costs. I know what should and shouldn't be done. And you can sell them that vision of the property that's not already in place. So I totally
how I
agree
like
with
to say, explain to buyers is I can walk into a house that was built in the 1920s, the 1970s, 90s, 2024, and I can tell you the quality of build. Mm-hmm. There's a couple missteps that somebody did back in the 20s. You know, it's going to probably add up to a few other problems down the road.
Yeah.
Same with the 2024, these new builds, you can see where they cut corners.
Yeah.
And just having that in your back pocket. Also, like knowing the style of homes, whether it was a Tudor, a Spanish, a mid-century, a ranch style. It's also huge.
Yeah. Like all these houses in this neighborhood, it's the first neighborhood that was ever built in Westlake.
Yeah.
And knowing, okay, this has asbestos, this doesn't, check the sewer line, like all these small things.
There was probably only 3 or 5 different builders here.
Yeah.
Putting all these together.
Yeah.
So they usually follow the same protocols.
Yeah.
And if there's one problem on one, it's going to add up on all the other ones that were done by that same builder.
Yeah, for sure. We were outside talking about different deals and how like the word realtor, I think that we could both agree on this advice. Like, I don't like that word because generally when you're meeting a realtor, they're kind of got that money hungry essence of just wanting to kind of lazily close deals.
Yeah.
And they don't have a lot of business acumen outside of real estate and looking at unique deal structure.
Yep.
It's all just kind of the rinse and repeat the same thing. I'm going to open some doors and get a check.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that we really connected on is that we love the art of the deal, whether it's real estate or not.
Yeah.
Like we both had experiences in other industries and other businesses that really help us win listing presentations and things like that because we've done other stuff.
Yeah.
And what are you doing outside of real estate right now?
Outside,
or are you 100%? Let's get this thing up and running.
I'm definitely 100% in, but I'm like, for instance, I just structured a deal with a siding company. So I've done the fashion stuff. I've done, an Instagram post for BMW or Ruinart Champagne or Diageo brands. If you know what Diageo is, Diageo owns basically every liquor brand you could possibly think of. Yeah. It was called Talisker whiskey, but they own Patron and on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
But your deals are with them. But anyway, so I've kind of transitioned that over into like the home space, and I did 2 of them, but one in particular was a siding company, and it's an aluminum siding called ClickLad. Shout out to ClickLad. They were awesome. And they found me from a video that I did just explaining my own personal build at my house and some of the built-ins that I did. And they reached out. It's aluminum siding, so it's waterproof, mold-proof, bug-proof, fireproof.
Sick.
Doesn't fade, doesn't warp, and it's like super easy installation. Like you can it just clicks in.
Are you on payroll right now? This is great.
No, but that's how I sold the home.
Really?
I mean, we're well over asking right now. I can't just wheel out a price because it's not closed, but we're in escrow at well over asking.
That's awesome.
And it was this siding company that really helped us. And so I did a deal where they gave us free product, about 550 square feet for the pool house. And it was a great added bonus to my developer. And then I did a video for them and also got paid. And I don't think many people in our business are thinking outside the box that these deals even exist. Or just to start structuring them. Then I did another one with a mailbox company, Post and Porch, just because I thought it was it was hard to find like a mid-century modern mailbox. And these guys were disrupting the market with all these ugly mailboxes. They had a much better product. And so again, it was another video, but it was implemented always with real estate. And also Runart Champagne. Sorry, I don't want to take away from that. Runart's owned by LVMH. Like if the amount of brands they own. So to do one good deal for them is going to add 10 more. But I did one for their champagne company. It was a house we had for sale for $17 million. And it was a bit cheesy, but I made it about real estate. They wanted me to do a video for them. And I was like, I'm going to implement real estate into it. So basically I get a phone call in the video and it says, hey, we want to close for this amount over asking. And I said, sounds like we have a deal. And there's only one way to celebrate.
There you go.
Runart Champagne. So I love that. It's just different. I don't know. Fun. And it's fun.
When you're only focusing on the monotonous day-to-day of opening doors, it gets old. And you're not disrupting anything.
No.
And that's what I like about you is I can tell you like disrupting stuff and changing. And that's why, like, when I first started out here 10 years ago when I was 20, especially when I was like 23, 24, and I started taking market, the old agents could not stand me. Like I would get reported for like the smallest marketing error on the MLS or whatever, like the smallest things I would reported. Open house signs gone. I found a knife inside of one of my for sale signs once. Like when I first started taking market out here, it was crazy. Now people don't really mess with me as much because we're going to cross paths again.
You want to know, I got reported. I thought it was a smart marketing play. I took my own open house sign and I had this house. It was coming on the market one day later, but I put my open house sign in front of the house and I taped a poster board to it, handwritten. Call me. I live 5 minutes away. Happy to show.
Great idea.
And because it was handwritten, I had probably 25 phone calls from all big developers, and I sold it to one of my developers, but I got 5 more that I actually still work with now.
That's awesome.
From a poster handwritten.
Yeah, that's so cool. And for any agents that are listening, it is important to have a roster of developers that can close cash fast because you're not only selling the client's house, like you're getting them what they need. You're making both ends of the commission on the front and you're getting a listing out of it. And listings always have babies. That's why I prefer working listings over buyers. You have an asset that you can leverage and turn into more clientele and you're going to make another 5% on a higher sales price on the back.
Yep.
And you're going to get all the buyer and seller leads off of that. And then you get another one, you get all the buyer seller leads off of that.
Yep.
Like it's such a great thing. And that's why it's so smart that like even, I mean, 2 years in, you have those contacts.
Yeah.
Like it's so helpful.
I stress this too with some young agents who ask, 2 years, da da da. I've been doing it for a long time. I just never did it for other people.
Yeah.
As much. And so I do go back a way further. Mm-hmm. So it was, it's not always realistic that you're just going to get that flow so quick, No, I'm just being honest about it. Like it's not like I just came overnight, know, and like that's another story.
Yeah.
I'm just being real.
Yeah. Like you've been in business for much longer. Like
like I said, I was triple net leasing buildings in New York when Airbnb first came out, and I was, managing, I think 17 different Airbnbs, that were my own. And I would style them, design them. I would get creative with different artists. I had them paint like all kinds of like, Andy Warhol and Madonna, like New York, like when that was cool, when everybody wanted to take a photo at their Airbnb house, I was doing it in the condos in New York. And then I was also always building, in and around, whether it was restaurants or apartments. Mm-hmm. So I did have a crazy database before. I just saw in the real estate space, the agent space, what I was missing as a homeowner, even.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't fulfill everything I was looking for.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing any like buy and hold type of deals, or are you primarily focused on the flips? Like what's your...
At this point in time, I also have to go through my database and like think of all of all my systems being put in place like right now. It's really just getting a little bit unmanageable.
Yeah.
And that's why I brought in a partner, Jeremy, who's just an excellent agent coming from the Johnson & Johnson space of just like super regimented.
An operator.
Yeah. And he keeps me in line. But as far as buy and holds at the moment, it's mostly development. There's a few home buyers and sellers, people who are also clients I have that just want to hold and rent.
Yeah.
And then my mentor in New York, who's got over $500 million worth of real estate.
Yeah.
Those are big buys and hold, but I'm not involved as far as ownership.
Got it.
At this point in time.
Yeah.
No, I own my own house, created a ton of equity. Mm-hmm. And I've also, you were asking about entertainment. I was in that business for a long time, and I was fortunate enough to have a nice big fragrance deal at some point with Dolce & Gabbana, which was the fragrance was owned by Procter & Gamble at that time. So my deals with Procter & Gamble, that's where you see like these different deal structures and how the business really works. But I had a large sum of money that came to me for a few years in a row. And my family had always been in building and stuff like that, but they weren't like real estate connoisseurs. They were never buying multiple places for investments. Mm-hmm. And so when I made that money, I had my mentor in New York he advised me to buy some unbelievable property that I missed out on because I thought my parents would hold my hand. And my parents were more like, why don't you just come buy a reasonable house here in the suburbs? And I was like, well, this building's $2 million in Tribeca and has 6 floors of air rights. I think it's a good deal. And generating $12,000 a month in revenue at the moment.
Yeah.
At $2 million. And it was right across from Soho Grand. If I would have bought that building before Tribeca like popped, that was like in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate that chunk of change came during the last recession.
Yeah, that's.
I think you probably missed the last recession.
I was out. I was still in high school, I think.
So yeah, not many, like of the younger agents have even seen a real recession yet. Yeah. But I was fortunate enough. Anyway, I missed out on a lot of deals. Also down South Congress in Austin, I could have picked up those properties at 150, 300 grand a pop. Can't touch one under 1.5, 2 million now. Same in Houston called the Heights. I was always looking for the next area just because I'm like, oh, I see potential. Mm-hmm. And I like I like, what's the word I'm looking for? I love community, but I've been reading books like Triumph of the City. You know, you ever heard of that book? They make a lot of architects read that, but it's sort of just how the city operates and what you need in the city in order to make it functional. And so when you start looking at those pockets outside of the suburbs, you see the potential of growth.
Yeah.
And anyway, tons of missed opportunities in real estate as a kid. And now here I am really focused down and trying to double down
it out
on all of it.
And I like, there's an area, you know where Newbury Park is?
Yeah.
I love Newbury Park. I buy a lot there. I buy a lot in Thousand Oaks because it's like these areas that are just outside of Westlake, because Westlake's kind of becoming a little bit more of a hub. 80% of our buyers now, 70% of buyers that are coming through my open houses, all from LA. So we're now getting LA money coming out here.
What's the age range?
These guys are probably 40 to 55, I would say, is like kind of the average spread of the person who's coming out from LA to an open house. Yeah. You get some people in their 30s, but typically there's not a lot of 30-year-olds that are buying for $2 million.
Yeah.
Of course. So it just ends up that that's the age of the people coming through those open houses.
Yeah.
And I started buying out there because it's affordable. They rent fast, and that's like my buy and hold strategy.
Got it.
I don't really like anything I can get my hands on out there. I don't flip.
Yeah.
Like, yes, theoretically I could.
Yeah.
But I love buying and holding. That's like what I was taught when I was like 24.
Yeah, that's it.
I bought my first place. I just shot a YouTube video on this today, so it's fresh. I bought my first place when I was 24, and I had a couple people, like mentors, that were like, I put a deposit down on a townhouse. Really sick. You know, like multi-story, new construction. Like, it was really cool. But then I talked to a couple mentors that I had at the time, and they were like, I found this other house that came up, and it had a guest house. Yeah. And they were like, do not even fucking think about buying that cool townhouse. Go buy that multi-family property. And I bought it, and it was similar to, I think, what we were talking about earlier, where your parents like kind of pushed back on one of the deals you wanted to buy. Yeah. So my own dad's in construction, and this house was fucked up, like foundation issues and stuff. There were still 5 offers on it. But I bought that house because my gut was like units, 2 units. So I love buying in those like communities, like you said, that are, you see the upside. Like, I know for a fact that those communities
it's coming.
Like, in the 10-year spread, after we kind of get saturated with LA money out here, and the existing families that are here get priced out, they're going to be either renting or buying in those sub communities. And so that's how I kind of played what we were talking about earlier of like those secondary markets or the areas that are up and coming.
24.
Yeah, dude, and it was sketchy too.
It's
like
insane.
The house
takes balls of steel.
It did. And I was literally like, something I said on the YouTube video today, like, you just have to take the risk. Yeah. Like, you literally just have to take the risk. And I did, and it was hard.
Oh yeah.
Like, I used all of the money in my bank account for the 5% down. Like, almost all of my money in the bank account.
Impressed.
And then I had, at the time, it was like $80K in construction. And I was selling houses to pay for the construction while I was going.
Legend.
Like, I was going to run out. Like, I ran out of fucking money.
Legend.
Like, I had to sell.
There's not many people that have put themselves through that test. Once you go through that test, you can walk through any fire. Yeah. And it takes that. During COVID, I bought a house in Studio City, and I'm up in the hill, and it was a complete teardown. Sick lot. Overgrown from bottom to top. And I'm just walking through it, trying to find, like, all of a sudden I'm on a bridge. I'm like, wow, I've always wanted a bridge. All of a sudden, I'm on another bridge. I'm like, holy shit, 2 bridges. There's water underneath me here. I walk up to another flat lot. I look over the wall, and there's a driveway skirt. I called the contractor buddy of mine who specializes in ADUs, and I said, hey, can you have your team look up what I can build on the back of this lot? And he's like, 1,200 square foot guest house.
Mm-hmm.
And so ADU. And so I'm like, automatic. I'm like, the house has the feeling, the whole thing, complete tear down. And so I beat out 13 other offers.
Love it.
At 150. I don't know if I should, whatever. My price on the house. Yeah. Anywho, then I'm like, fuck, I'm going to rebuild this whole thing and do it my way. And I like a smaller house, 1,800 to 2,200 square foot house. Then I like multi-structures, another office down below, guest house on the back, sauna pool over here. I love
I love that stuff too.
Walk through. Anywho, while building the house, my neighbors were like, you overpaid for that, blah, blah, blah. A year into building the house, 3 houses up, sells for $6.2 million.
Oh, shit. Talk about a spread. That's crazy.
So, honestly, super strapped. All my money was in a couple houses and just locked up and in an investment. And I was just strapped, putting this shit together there every single day, making sure everything happens. And just the fact that I stress, it sucks to stress like that.
Yeah.
Stress over cash, all that stuff. There is nothing I can't do now.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing. I totally agree with that.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I wish my parents would have let me struggle or something back then with those properties when I had it right in my grip.
Yeah.
It would have been, I would have been a lot better off a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. For anybody watching, now's the time.
Exactly. You have to, I am very much, and I think you are too, I have to experience something to understand the value in it. Like you can tell me and I'll be like, okay, cool story, bro.
What is it worth to you?
Yeah.
Once you do it once, then you know what it's worth to you.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't ever want to do that again. That sucks.
Yeah. I have one house that I sold in Westlake and I kick myself over it because I was in it for 1.4 or something.
Mm-hmm.
House is probably worth 2.2 right now. I think I sold it for 1.6 or 1.5 something. And, but I had to go through that.
Yep.
If I hadn't gone through losing that, I wouldn't have the same fire that I do now about retaining stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
And you have 2 options. You can either cry about it or go buy more real estate.
That's
There's nothing in between.
That's it.
There's literally nothing in between.
And you can't, like you were mentioning, a guy in the area sitting on a property, getting greedy, waiting for more and more. It's like, you got to, in this business, it's like move on. Shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
You're better off doing 10 deals than just waiting for that one perfect one.
Exactly. Yeah. I always preach that bird in the hand. Bird in the hand. And my friend's really rich dad taught me this at a super young age.
Rich
I was
dad, poor dad?
I was selling pretty much. No, I talk about him often in my podcast. Yeah. And he always taught me bird in the hand. Because I would sell stuff for him because he just had stuff laying around, old superchargers, wheels from his his Corvette and whatever, HRE wheels, and he'd be like, "Can you sell this stuff for me?" So I'd just sell it for him and I'd make 20%. And I learned through that process, and I learned a lot of what I implement today. I'd be like, "Oh man, this guy only offered this. I know you want to get a lot of money for it," and he was like, "Shane, bird in the hand. Do the deal. I don't care.
Nice.
Let's get this shit out of my garage."
Yeah.
And so I kind of learned how his brain worked.
Yep.
And the people that win always move fast.
Yep.
They always take the bird in the hand. They never get greedy.
That's it.
And it's always just the fucking velocity of the deal.
Yeah. Now I really understand why Mikey Taylor was so impressed by you.
That's funny. I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah. 30 years old. You're just a beast.
Thanks, dude.
Impressive.
I appreciate that. But, yeah, I think that's a lot of the reason why we kind of connected is that you're the same way. You value a deal, you like structuring things, and I think that's what creates the mega agents in real estate.
I like branding, like the marketing, but and when I'm saying branding, There's some big fashion brands that I've worked for my whole life, and I'm not a part of this deal, but Dolce & Gabbana is doing a condo in Miami. Mm-hmm. Well, why can't I be the guy to do one in LA?
Yeah.
You know,
like literally, why not? Like, what is?
Yeah.
Like, why is that not a possibility?
Yeah.
And it's all what
just
we're talking
leverage.
about.
You're leveraging your relationships, your connections, with which anybody would do, and see if you can't put a deal together. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm all about it. The last thing I want to touch on that.
Oh man,
that
I don't want this to end.
I know, dude. I know. Golf, soccer. We've both lost on deals. Yeah. I lose frequently.
Yeah.
It happens often. And the one nugget that I want to leave people with is that losing is completely normal. And if you're not losing often, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, you're not playing.
You're not in the game.
Again, I was in the entertainment business for a while as an actor. I even set a goal. I was like, I want to be a series regular on a TV show. And within 3 years, and somebody gave me that, they're like, hey, if you can't book a show within 3 years as a series regular, then you should probably quit and do something else. Well, 3 years, and I've studied my ass off, just like golf. I thought, I'm just going to be great. One thing I missed out, just flash forward, in the entertainment business and acting, I never networked. I wanted to depend on my talent in order to go somewhere. And that wasn't what I've learned. That wasn't the move. That was a bad choice.
Yeah.
And I just thought the more I studied and the better I got, the further I would move along in that business. So I was on a television show for 2.5 seasons, and I quit the last season. Didn't do it for me. I wasn't happy with it. I wouldn't tell really people to go watch it. Wouldn't tell my family to go watch it. I've been denied more than anybody you've ever spoken to in your life.
Yeah.
You know how many auditions I went to, gave my heart and soul,
and
they
you
didn't
study
give a
and you
shit.
learn the script.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Oh my God, studied, passion, crying, and nobody gave a fuck. They would tell you about sometimes, you're amazing. Where have you been? Crickets.
Yep.
Never hear back. And that rejection actually has come around tenfold to work out in business. You can't be married to anything. It's you got to stay true to who you are and move along and get the next deal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to bring it full circle. Whether you hit a bad golf shot, whether you let a goal go in behind you, all we can do in life and business is pick your head up, get the ball out, throw it out. Let's go, boys. Yeah. Where's the next fucking deal?
Phil Mickelson says his favorite part about golf is hitting after he hits a crappy shot is the recovery.
Yeah. You're the hero after.
Yep.
And you can't be a hero if there's nothing to recover from.
That's it.
So anybody that's watching this, I hope you got a lot of great nuggets out of this. Adam, thank you so much for coming on. You are a gem. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, same. Ditto, dude. I want to hang out.
Let's go golf, bro.
Okay.
Let's run it.
Good.
All right. Cheers, guys.